Everybody, welcome to the Friday, February 5th, the first February edition of Total Health Live. I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of drvogelmann.com. And with us, as always, is our nutritionist to the stars.
I'm Monika Klein, and good to see you again this lovely Friday, first Friday of February, as you just mentioned. And so we got through January.
I refer to it January as the 13th month of 2020.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's not a 14th month, although the 14th is a special day. It's chocolate day.
I thought it's steak and lobster day.
Well, maybe in your household, but chocolate and flowers day. What day is that, by the way? I think that's a Monday.
It is a Monday.
A Monday. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Every day is Monday.
Every day is Monday or whatever. And we have a birthday month this week too. This month.
Was it Barack Obama? Michelle Obama.
Is Michelle? Yes. I'm talking about you or my co-host there, Christopher.
I'll be older and bolder, and then you'll catch up next month.
I will. We're 2 weeks apart or something, maybe.
Close to 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it's close to 2 weeks.
Yes. So what is happening in the news, in the COVID news? I just got an interesting thing about the Sputnik vaccine, which is the Russian vaccine.
Oh, I thought you said Butnik.
Sputnik.
Sputnik.
It's not very inventive, I must say.
Tavarish. Sputnik.
Sputnik vaccine, which completed phase 3 and has fully been peer-reviewed according to the Lancet, and its efficacy is 9.1%, and it's 100%.
I'm assuming it's 90, not 9.1. I'm thinking it's 91.
91.1.
Okay, better.
91.1. 100% protection against getting sick for moderate and severe. And I found this kind of reporting kind of interesting because there's a whole other category of safety. I would think that would be assumed within their, I suppose efficacy is not the same as safety, but
no, never assume. The operation was successful, but the patient died.
So safety profile is good. I would like to hear safety profile is excellent, and as well, 100%.
It's better than saying the safety profile was meh.
Yes, it is. It's a step above, or maybe a few steps above.
Several steps above meh.
But yeah, so that was the Sputnik, the Russian vaccine, and also more and more studies keep coming in, and we already knew this about the benefits of vitamin D. Now, again, I think I mentioned at last week's show that you need to get your levels checked, and it's not a common thing that doctors test. So you just ask for it. Ask for it
by name.
Vitamin D3.
Vitamin 3.
Vitamin D3.
Okay, so nationally cases are down.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because every day I see another report that sort of is opposite of the report the day before.
It's very regionalized though. I mean, it's just you county by county. One county is shooting up and the other one's going down. So
yeah. What did I see about Australia? That they're not wanting any travelers. They're thinking of not letting any travelers in till 2022. So
it's possible, but it doesn't do much. It doesn't do much for Koala Tours Incorporated.
Yeah, no, tourism is going to be down, but I don't know if that precludes them from traveling because they are big travelers down under. They're big travelers. So that was something interesting I just read today.
Travel them up.
Yeah. So, I mean,
do you have any travel plans?
The only travel I wanted to do was to visit my mother, who's nearly 100. And so it's just a wait and see kind of process. Yeah. So yeah. So how about you? I mean, everyone wants to travel. I mean,
my sister is actually, my version of traveling is importing my sister for my birthday.
Importing your sister for your birthday.
from New York.
That's not going to be difficult. I mean,
it's like New York cheesecake. It's genuine imported.
Is she going to bring some with her when she arrives?
She usually brings her pumpkin bread, which is terribly addictive. So
yeah, good pumpkin. There's nothing like good pumpkin bread. In fact, I still have my
pumpkin queen.
Pumpkins.
You are the pumpkin queen.
I still have my 3 small pumpkins, Martha, Mary, and Margot, which I still have to. They're little pumpkins, and I didn't bring them, but I did bring. Well, I think Chewy is almost gone. He's almost expired here, but I do now have Courage Butternut. Mr. Courage.
Mr. Courage.
Mr. Courage.
So he feels the fear of the oven and jumps in anyway?
I don't know, or he just has the courage to do what he is meant to do, Mr. Courage. So I did bring a few more props. So these are always great. I always bring, let's give you a sort of a breakdown here. Butternut squash, so good for the gut, so good and healthy for you. All squashes, all vegetables are pretty good. And my friend, ginger root. Now, what do you use ginger root for, Christopher?
I use it for anti-inflammatory tea.
Yeah.
And for Indian dishes.
Indian dishes, just all sorts.
Actually, ginger is very good with fish, I will tell you. Ginger fish,
that's a wonderful one. This, you can make tea. It's good for your throat. It's good for digestion. You can put it in your smoothies. You can just, it just adds so much flavor. And of course, a lot of people are used to pickled ginger with their sushi. So ginger is a ancient food, and I think it's got many beneficial therapeutic uses, but those are some of the top ones. Anti-inflammatory, a digestant. It also breaks up mucus. So if you're feeling a scratchy throat or some congestion, ginger tea is great. So you can either grate it or you can chop it up and make a tea. So it's excellent. Also, I saw these beautiful pears in the market. Well, I didn't go to the market, but I saw them on the Sprouts.
Were you looking at the pear cam, like the panda cam or something like?
I wish there was one. I wish it's been so long since I've been in a grocery store that I would love to sort of be able this would be a great invention to be able to sort of like have a cam in the grocery store and be able to pick what you're wanting to purchase. I
think you just send in your own personal drone and hover over the various displays. I want that one.
Yeah, whatever it takes. But these look great, and I'm looking forward to having them. And we got like wonderful, these huge.
I was in a Whole Foods last week. That was actually quite safe and nice. So.
Yeah. Yep. Like, I'm sure every place is safe. I just I don't want to be exposed. I don't want to be exposed anywhere, go to places I don't need to go if I have someone else, helping, just simply because to protect my husband. Mostly.
When it comes to ginger, just remember Ginger Rogers did very well with Fred Astaire.
Yeah, so it's good for dancing too. Ginger is
good for dancing. It helps keep you in tune. The other one, I was
keep your limbs
flexible and not in pain.
Not inflamed. Yeah.
What was the one that I was just thinking about? Oh yeah, I was gonna say what is it? Monica and her crops for props. That's what I was gonna do.
Crops for props.
Crops for props.
They're really great. I think it's called Hanema.
Hanema? It's not Jicama, it's Hanema.
Hanema, yeah, it's a company that you can buy these herbs and grow them. They're sort of platters, and you can grow them. And I actually gifted one of my friends one of those for Christmas, and she's thrilled. And she's using I think there was asparagus sprouts and chives and some other things. I'm not really sure exactly, but they grow, and I'm excited. And I'm gonna get one maybe for my birthday. I'm gonna get some and start growing some. So these are primarily herbs and sprouts that you're sprouting in your very own home or on your balcony or in your patio. It's a big thing.
Big thing.
Big thing. I see it advertised a lot on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know if you've seen them, their ads.
Apparently, the algorithm is feeding me different things.
Apparently. So, yeah. So there you go. A little bit of props.
Props for props.
I have props. I have props with my props.
We give you props.
Big props. Yeah, I love my ginger soups. You can make ginger soup, ginger and carrot soup, and just lovely.
Speaking of lovely, we have some of our questions submitted by our devoted viewers / listeners, because I know some people actually will play our broadcast in the background while they do other things, which I'm totally cool with. It's like they take our broadcast and turn it into their very own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
I do that often too when I'm busy doing something else and I can't really view.
Well, that's why people say that this is your marketing tip of the day, that your audio quality is actually more important than your video quality than your picture quality for a video, because so many people do just that. They listen to broadcasts. Kind of interesting. Anyway, so Q&A.
Q&A.
This is A for Atlanta, the peach state of Georgia, the capital. Trish is from Atlanta, and she is asking this question. She says, I'm always feeling stressed. Can this be the reason I'm not losing weight?
Could be a really major reason why you're not losing weight. Is that the extent of the question?
That's all she says. Asks. I mean, there's no further explanation other than she's stressed. Is it eustress or distress?
Stress can cause all sorts of things. Stress can even cause disease processes like diabetes. So depending on the level of your stress, you need to address your stress.
Address your stress for success.
Yes.
Well, but the strategies, it just depends on what you're feeling stressed about, like what's really bothering you.
Yeah, and it's also very individual, like how a person can manage their stress. Some people can do almost every, can do Herculean types of lives, and there's one stress after another, one crisis after another, and they're able to manage it. They're a crisis manager. Not that it's not taking a toll at some point, but then there are some people that can only do a little bit, and that takes them over the edge. So it depends on you, your temperament, and life circumstances, and how well you're taking care of yourself in every other area of your life.
Well, and in terms of self-care, I think, perhaps, I don't know, Trisha, if you perhaps are watching way too much cable TV news or so, and you just might want to turn it off, and that creates a little less negative input and might give your adrenal glands a break.
Yeah. So it's a very vague question, like not a vague question, but it's vague as to how much stress and what your stress entails. And maybe that's too private for you to put in your question, but
hit us up with a personal message, either in Coaching for Health or somewhere else here, and you can give us some more details and might be able to provide you with better advice.
Yeah. And just know that if your body's under a stress, or your mentally, emotionally, and physically, you're under stress, or either one or all of the above, your body's not going to work very well. Your body's not going to function very well. So if you're trying to lose weight, and if you are taking steps to do that, and you're not getting results, you might want to look at just maybe one strategy for stress reduction or stress management. What could you do? How could, maybe walk 20 minutes a day? That is a stress reducer in and of itself. So, So
I just dropped my glasses and I'm stressed out about it. So I'll leave you for a second.
Yeah, there you go. And stress can happen. Like it could be a big chronics. It could be a state where you're chronically stressed, or just acute stress with some crisis happens, or it could just be constant like annoyances that sort of accumulate and cause you to be triggered by smaller things, but there's a lot of them. So again, what kind of strategies can we use to help you? Just pick one and start with that. So,
well, there is a certain amount of self-care, and there's external circumstances that we don't always have control over. For example, in our area here, there are a lot of houses that are tear downs that are having new construction projects. And when you're next to a construction site, a residential construction site, it can be very disconcerting to feel the earth moving as they're digging foundations or destroying the house next door. And so in those circumstances, you actually have to physically remove yourself for a certain period of time, maybe when they're most active, making a lot of noise, if that bothers you.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed since we've been more at home, there's a noise factor that has definitely gone up, and it's really tough because we're all at home, and I just keep repeating to many people is like consideration, be considerate of your neighbors, and so we're all in this together.
I think we are. Hey, and speaking of somebody together from somewhere, this is actually interesting. I was thinking Ventura Boulevard, but this is Dina from Ventura.
Ventura, yeah, the city of, I'm assuming.
Is that close to you?
The city of Ventura is about 40 minutes away, half an hour, depending on traffic.
Okay, so Dina,
on the way to Santa Barbara.
Dina, I've geolocated you with advice from Monica. So Dina is asking, or she states that, hey, I've lost 20 pounds last fall. Well, congratulations for that. But I've noticed that another 5 pounds have crept back. I feel discouraged. How can I turn this around? Well, this is definitely an emotional mindset game, because I think the fact that you still have a net loss of 15 pounds is pretty darn good.
Yeah, look at your successes for sure. And you've done it, you've done that, you can do it again. So base it on the past success, and know that for whatever reason that those extra 5 pounds have crept on. Maybe it was the holidays, maybe it was stress, as we were answering, as we were speaking to Trisha, or answering Trisha's question. So what were the things that led you to those 20 pound, that loss of 20 pounds?
Well, from the fall through the holidays, it's not unusual. I mean, some people, what was the average American gained like 3 pounds on Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah. And it's often 10 during the holidays, but know that's a lot of that's water weight.
Yeah.
If you put it on quickly, and it can come off quickly. So look at what you're doing. What things have you let creep back in? What are you doing that you were doing before you lost the 20 pounds? What caused the gain in the first place? The 20 pound gain in the first place. And I don't know if your goal is to lose more than 20 or just get back to those 20. So it's just one day at a time, one meal at a time. Look at what you were doing to lose those 20 pounds. And what I find too, Christopher, is sometimes people get really bored with some of the food that they're eating to get to that weight loss. So you have to look at other alternatives and start looking at other recipes and have fun with it. Bring some fun into your meal planning in whatever way you can.
And I guess you're just embracing the good habits that got you that 20 pound loss previously. So, for example, maybe you, as you were saying earlier, maybe just as Trish, you've been snacking more or that sort of thing. And if you find yourself unconsciously eating, just being a little more aware and just being more mindful of what you're consuming, it can just be a minor change like that of awareness that will help you to easily get back on track.
Or have you reintroduced the glass of wine with dinner? Maybe it's just something
or
simple.
A bottle of wine with dinner. So
yeah, well, hopefully, yeah.
Not the whole bottle by yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, these habits slowly creep in. You start, you're not off coffee for a while, and then all of a sudden, you have that 1 cup, and then it becomes 2 cups, and then it becomes
2 pots.
Instead of one day or once a week, it becomes every day again. So habits. Not saying that coffee is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for everybody. It is a bad thing for some people. So yeah,
Coffee is my friend. It's warm and accepting, and it doesn't judge me.
yeah, and it's, people like coffee and warm drinks in the winter season for sure. So I've been watching the Gilmore Girls, Christopher, on Netflix, and I tell you, I think it's a great show. I had no idea, when it was on like 20 years ago, but the lead character, what's her name now? I can't remember the lead
Oh,
character.
good old what's her name?
Heather Graham. No, it's
You want me to
my
look
God,
that
I'm
up?
blanking out.
You want
Anyway,
me to
she's a
Google that?
coffee
You want me to Google that for you while you're thinking?
and it's quite funny. I mean, I don't remember in the early 2000s if people were going crazy over coffee as much as that time. Lauren Graham is her name. She's the actress, and her name is Lorelai Gilmore. Boom!
There you go. I see her right now. There's Lorelai. Lorelai.
Yes.
Lorelai won't lie to you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but I think we might have all been, Starbucks crazed. I mean, I know the trend was going on before the early 2000s, but yeah, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, again, it's not for everyone. Some people just can't. It affects their sleep. It affects their nervous system. They cannot have coffee. And there's actually a genetic marker that indicates if you are more sensitive to caffeine. So yeah, I actually have that marker, and so I can't tolerate too much caffeine. So I'll have a cup a day with something that will slow down the blood sugar a little bit. I'll have a little half and half. So but espresso has less caffeine, so actually that's better for you.
Which is funny because people often think that espresso has more caffeine
because it's stronger, but it's less caffeine. So anyway, that's my story about coffee. I know this wasn't a question about coffee, but
but we do love our coffee.
We do love our coffee. Yes.
Hey, and speaking of, this is a place I actually love. I have experience with this. Elliot from Lake Placid. I worked in a steel company, Elliot, in Buffalo, New York, and I worked in a steel company.
You've done everything, Christopher.
It's funny. I look back on my life and I've done a lot of weird stuff. But anyway, I worked in a steel company as a merchandising manager in Buffalo back in the 1970s for about a year. And Elliot, one of the major projects that we did and succeeded in was supplying all of the steel for the Olympic field house in Lake Placid. So you're welcome, Elliot.
Well, my steel story is I worked on the railroad.
Oh, there you go.
I worked on the railroad for 3 summers while I was at university. That was my summer job, and there was a lot of steel. And so we were the first women to be hired by the railroad.
Wow, you ran the rails.
That marked quite a
landmark
for women's rights.
You're a pioneer in Canadian feminism.
It was actually a lot of fun, and it was a great summer job. And
you did it for 3 summers.
I did it for 3 summers. It was a great summer job. But you know what? I had motion sickness. I suffer from motion sickness. So ginger is my friend because it's really good for motion sickness. But so that was the only downside of the job was the motion sickness.
So Elliot, that's our version of TMI for you about our connections with Lake Placid and steel.
We're going on a journey.
We're going on a trip. So Elliot asks, or actually Elliot looks like he's stating, this is a fact to Elliot. He says, I love pasta. Gotcha.
Pasta.
Especially in the winter. And my wife is a really good cook too. Yeah, this pasta and overeating tendency of mine is preventing me from losing an extra 30 pounds that I gained back in 2020. I love my wife's cooking, ... And he just left it there. I guess he's asking a question saying, what do I do?
What do I do? You know this too. You have a wife that's an excellent cook.
She's a Mexican food blogger, one of the top, I would say, 5 in the country. And so I'm an official taste tester in Mama May's Kitchen as well as a hand model. So sometimes you'll see my hand holding a fork or something like that. But so pasta, it's very interesting. We often hear this pasta
I had this
question.
too because my husband.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm listening,
Are
but there
you
was a long
there?
pause. I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, the pasta question. What I was saying is, I too had this problem because my husband, when he was cooking before he became ill, he was gifted. He just had a gift for cooking, and he unbelievable food, like healthy food, not just pasta, but very very creative and very he cooked he had a lot of texture. He cooked with texture, aromas, and lots of spices and herbs, and he cooked in layers. That's the word I was looking for, layers. And so yeah, it's a really great when it's really tough, and it's really great when you have someone who can who's an amazing cook.
So this is beyond Chef Boyardee, I'm assuming.
No, we didn't have anything like that. In fact, I didn't really grow up with that kind of food. I mean, I grew up with whole natural food, home cooked, and this huge garden. My mother had this huge garden, so lots of fresh vegetables. But pasta.
Elliot, it's my best ET.
Pasta is good.
Pasta. I mean, it's easy for a lot of people to become what I refer to as carboholics, where you eat a little and it spikes your blood sugar, and you eat even more because you have to understand all that pasta is being converted into glucose, which will affect your blood sugar. What's your take on this? Okay.
Well, it's not a Chef Boyardee because I don't think
not a Chef Boyardee moment.
Wife would be considered an excellent cook if she was just opening up a can. So here's the secret. Here's a secret. Use a lot of vegetables in your pasta,
Sure.
Mostly vegetables with a little bit of pasta. You're going to be using also some onions and garlic, and so for flavor, and also for getting those vegetables into your diet. It's a great way to do that. So you have a little bit of grain and vegetables and olive oil, or what other, I mean, I recommend olive oil, but there are other, pestos, homemade pestos you can use. So it's not about just having pasta with just a sauce. That's not a good equation for a healthy pasta dish. A lot of people
think of, any sort of a dish like a primavera where you put a lot of those vegetables in that you were talking about.
Yeah, any kind of pasta. Sometimes I have this Trader Joe's linguine, sun-dried linguine pesto. I call it my starter kit. It's in the frozen
because you add to it.
I add vegetables. I add onions and garlic and broccoli, and I'll add shrimp or salmon, or so I'll just sort of use it as a base to get me started. But yeah, I mean, there's buckwheat noodles too, if you're, a little concerned about just using wheat. Buckwheat noodles, soba noodles that you could use. Those make excellent pasta dishes as well. Just throw everything. We do that also with mole. We used to do that with mole. We would have the mole sauce and just put tons of it. I do that with vegetable, curried chicken as well. So just add those extra vegetables and you're going to have a healthier dish.
You got that curry in a hurry.
Curry in a hurry. It's very good.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, I like the fact that you're talking about buckwheat and other things like that, because it's a little more slowly absorbed.
And there's quinoa pasta too, if you're concerned about being gluten-free with your pasta. But this question was I'm adding to this and telling you that pasta's okay, but you can make it healthier.
And just balancing it out. You may want more protein, as you were saying, just to kind of balance out the, gosh, what was it that we used to do, that old ratio, the 40-30, there was the zone type diet was a big thing. Diet,
yeah.
So I always like to balance things out a little bit. One of my friends used to eat Cliff Bars. An MD friend of mine used to eat Cliff Bars in the office, but he would always have a handful of almonds with his Cliff Bar, which I thought was very interesting because he felt a lot better.
So you want to reduce the blood sugar rush. Mm-hmm. Another thing is you could have pasta as a side. not necessarily as the main.
Saw that in Italy, in Florence, Firenze. The pasta was just a tiny part of the meal. It was just a little plate to the side. So
I love Firenze.
Firenze, yes.
So beautiful.
I recommend the tiny restaurant, which is Mangia Fuoco. It was probably some of the best food I've ever had in Italy, and it was just, not a tourist attraction whatsoever, but just amazing.
It's nice when you can find these smaller places.
Yep, very much so.
Well, when we get to travel again.
When we travel again. Hey, so does that, I hope that answers your question or your concern, Elliot, that there are different strategies to look at. And if you have any other questions, just put them in the comment section just below this video, or send us a direct message, because right on this page, we have direct message capabilities. So
fantastic.
And my home state of New York. Diane from East Hampton. She's in the Hamptons.
2 New Yorkers in a row.
Reminds me of Lake Placid and East Hampton. Where you're going from upstate to downstate to the island.
I have been to East Hampton many times. It's beautiful.
The Hamptons are very lovely. Wasn't the Barefoot Contessa is in the Hamptons?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
The best lobster I've ever had in the Hamptons.
Best lobster I had was in Tennant's Harbor, Maine. And it was dirt cheap. It was a $10 lobster dinner. It was amazing. Of course, it was many years ago.
I'm hungry. That's another thing you can put in your pasta is lobster.
Lobster pasta. So Diane, sorry, we got distracted here. Diane, she says, I've been cooking a lot more at home since COVID, but I'm getting a little bit bored and rather antsy. What do you recommend I do to keep my culinary skills active and also take a break from constant cooking and shopping and so forth? Well, Diane, there is the possibility in your area, as well as most of ours, that you can have some takeout, curbside delivery from restaurants if you want to do that, or you can just take a different type of cuisine. I know that sometimes if we move from Mexican food to Asian to German to French, the type of cuisine can make a big difference. And I recognize that you're very skilled now, but sometimes you just need to switch it up. What's your take, Monika?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was doing this detox for a couple of months. It was a 4-week detox, and I was cooking every day, and there was no such thing as leftovers. So you had to cook every day. Because the Ayurvedic philosophy is that you lose a lot of the quality and the nutrient quality of the food if you eat leftovers. So that's what I had to do. And I got a little tired. So I did go out and I had some sushi, like in the last month in January. I did get some curbside sushi, and I know, we had something for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We did takeout. So, there's definitely takeout available, and you want to limit that though. I would say, once, if you're getting bored, like once a week or once every.
Once a week is fine. I think we average like once every 3 weeks, maybe, or 2 weeks. I can't remember. I think it's usually about every 2 to 3 weeks. But
and then.
I was going to say shopping. I don't know if you're going yourself, Diane, but there's a lot of delivery services to take care of the shopping thing if it bothers you.
And also, I don't know if this is happening, but I'm assuming it might be happening, where you have a group of neighbors and you kind of share shopping trips, so you give them a list. I'm always constantly making a list or two every week for someone to go shopping for me. And I also, I'll look at the weekly flyer, like here at Sprouts or because sometimes I forget, like I like the idea about the drone in the store where you can see.
That's my new thing. I'm going to probably put together a venture capital offer, for the store drones.
Store drones. Well, however that would work without any privacy issues.
It just comes in there and it just puts a little sticker on there with your name on it, and they scan it.
Other drones, though, if everyone had one?
Well, no. They kind of watch out for each other. They have a little radar on there, and they're not going to bump into each other. And if they do, there's cushions on the side of the drone. They don't get.
You know what I would like, because I forget. Like I have to go back into my memory bank. Like, okay, you walk into the store. There's this on this side, this on this side. Like, if you've been shopping at the same store forever and ever, it's like it's embedded in your brain, but there's things you forget. I also find that if I am eating really cleanly, as I like to do mostly, I don't go to Trader Joe's as much because there's a lot of snack foods, a lot of packaged foods, but of course they do have fresh foods too. So,
well, but this was something I always remember with the patients I had in the Washington D.C. area, and a lot of them. So I've had this a few times where people would say, "Well, I only get my food at Whole Foods, or I only get my food at Trader Joe's," but typically it was Whole Foods, and I was like, "There's a lot of conventional stuff there, but there's also a lot of desserts there." And I think people had the idea. I saw this with some vegetarian patients too, where they say, "I'm a vegetarian, I don't eat meat," but they would eat pans of brownies. And with the thought that was somehow healthy, and I would rather have seen them actually maybe have some fish or chicken or beef and tons of vegetables as opposed to a pan full of brownies.
Well, that's an unhealthy way of, this is the problem. A lot of people don't know how to do veganism and vegetarianism.
Right.
So it requires some skill and some investigation and some study, really, how to do it. So yeah, just do not avoid all animal products, but you're eating all this crap. So how you go, and then again, people become vegetarian for different reasons,
Right.
Animals, they want to not eat animals and protect animals. They want to be healthy, or they want to, it's environmental reasons. So
yeah, I mean, you can eat too much pita if you're concerned with pita.
Yeah, and hopefully it's all three reasons, not just one of those reasons.
Well, I have had a few people I know who did it for strictly health reasons, which is very interesting. Anyway, so I hope that helps you in the Hamptons.
I mean, plant-based is the best to focus on,
More plants.
Yeah.
My favorite comment from A. Whitney Brown, who was one of the head writers for Saturday Night Live back in the mid-'70s. He said, "I became a vegetarian not because I love animals, but because I hate plants."
I remember hearing you say that before.
That's the one. Still my favorite.
Yeah.
Let's see. So hopefully, Diane,
how are we doing for time? Do we have time for more questions? Or are we wrapping up?
We actually do have time for. I think we might be able to blast through these last questions here. Sorry, we'll give you the time that you need. Beverly from Minnetonka, Minnesota. I've actually been there again.
I have too. I have too.
It's funny. I've been to Mankato and Minnetonka and all these places because I used to go to Wisconsin every summer. Yeah. So Beverly from Minnetonka asks, "Are there any good suggestions for good orthotics?" Oh, this is a question near and dear to my heart. I've been walking a lot lately since my gym's been closed for many months. I want to continue, but I'm having some foot pain lately. I guess losing 15 to 30 pounds might help with that too. And you are right, Beverly. When you lose weight, you will put less pressure on all of your joints, including your knees, your ankles, and your foot. And orthotics are a great way to stabilize your foot and to support the arches. We're actually designed to walk on Earth, not the planet, but the actual dirt. And as a result, walking on concrete or linoleum floors or very hard surfaces is pretty rough. That's why one of my instructors used to say the only time you should not be wearing shoes are if you're in the bathtub or in bed, because we tend to need a little bit of extra support because we really don't have those springy surfaces like earth, the good earth and dirt.
What about the whole walking in grass barefoot? I mean, that's a whole trend. And
yeah, people like that for grounding and feeling a little bit more connected to the planet.
It's also good for your feet, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I mean, for some people it sounds a little woo-woo because they're trying to, connect with earth energy, but I think that actually is a little more natural. I would imagine that you do get a certain vibratory frequency when you are closer to Mother Nature as opposed to walking on a concrete surface 34 stories above the ground if you're a city dweller. And but orthotics are good. You've had some things with orthotics. I mean, I used to give them to my patients all the time. We used to cast them individualized orthotics and it really did seem to help some folks, but there's a lot of adjustment that needs to go on.
Yeah, I've been struggling with my orthotics, but the kind that I like are Superfeet, and I just bought my second pair of Superfeet, and
Superfeet. Are you able to leap tall buildings with a single bound?
I am.
Good.
So Superfeet are insoles, and they're not as expensive certainly as orthotics, as custom made orthotics, but a lot and over the years I've seen a lot of nurses wear these kinds of clogs. They have they have a support, an arch support, and they love them. And so I bought them for myself, and I love them to a certain extent. They're really hard, and they're not really bendable. And I feel for me that works to have more of a bendable shoe. And my next shoe will be something called a Hoka sneaker, and I will keep you posted about those. But they're supposed to be really good for cushioning your feet, specifically.
It's a Hoka, not a hookah.
Hoka. I will keep you posted. I'm on my way to try some on.
If you do start clog dancing with those clogs, let me know too.
Yeah, I mean, I like them, but they don't bend enough for me. And but nurses love them.
I think what we might do today, we might save Dave and Christina for next week.
Because there's so much to say about these questions.
Yeah. I mean, the orthotics are interesting. Sometimes my father, it was an interesting story many years ago. He was attending Logan College of Chiropractic up in Florissant Valley, and actually the area where they had a lot of the riots several years ago. In Ferguson, Missouri. And they were doing heel lifts, and they would raise you like 1/8 of an inch, and then they'd raise you like maybe to 1/4 and 3/8 and that sort of thing. And he had a scoliosis, a little bit of an imbalance, and they just kept raising the heel lift, and it got all the way up to a full inch heel lift, and he was having excruciating pain. And so he just removed the lift entirely and got almost instant relief.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep experimenting.
If you're in a lot of pain, you either have to get it adjusted, your orthotic, or whatever you're trying. I was in a boot for 3 months once, and what I did is I had to get sort of an elevation thing attached to my other shoe because it was so much higher, and it put off my gait. Another thing that put off my gait too was when I was walking on the beach all the time, because you're walking like on the shoreline, and
it's an angle. Yeah, it is an angle.
Yeah, so that can put your whole hip joint out, as well as your knees and down to your feet. So
I've seen that. Yeah, our beach walks here, I have to be careful I don't do it for too long for that very reason, that it throws me all off.
Yeah, and even in my neighborhood walk, there's one side has a sidewalk and the other side does not. But then the driveways that are the same sort of angle as a beach. So you've got to be careful of that too, because that'll affect.
It's better if you don't walk sideways on the driveway. If you just walk uphill or downhill, either one is better than sideways. Sideways just throws you off completely.
Yeah, and I think the whole orthotic thing, it's sort of the end result of a lot of alignment further up. Would you say, doctor?
I mean, yes and no, because I have seen people for who've had headaches and neck pain, for whom orthotics were the solution.
Interesting. So
even after adjusting them again and again and again, and
it's all connected, all the vertebrae, all the bones.
Yeah, and some people even have like your sits bones. They call it the ischial tuberosity, but from your hips, the crest of the hips down, where all of your hamstring muscles attach. They sometimes people have a little imbalance there, and my dad used to have that, and so he would have a little wedge in the car that lifted his hip up slightly.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of different solutions when you're looking at somebody biomechanically. Those things can have a great effect on you. Plus, if you have your center of gravity, Beverly, is affected because you've got maybe that 15 to 30 pounds is more in the front in the abdomen, that's going to throw off all of your biomechanics too. It's almost like people who gained 30, 40 pounds or so, like the guys with the big beer guts, they get a bit of a sway back, and they also wind up, it's almost like they were pregnant because they've got this big center of gravity that suddenly moved forward.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And as you lose weight, I mean, yeah, I had a lot of pregnant patients came in for back pain, and it was simply because their center of gravity was thrown off.
Mhm.
And the cure was delivery. So not DiGiorno.
Delivery or weight loss.
Or weight loss is what it was. Well, weight loss was part of it too. But
Well, not weight loss for the pregnant women. That's not, but delivery for the pregnant women and weight loss for those who aren't pregnant that have
deliver your food baby.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So any other final words here as we wrap this up?
No, I think these are all really great questions. And
keep sending those questions too.
Yeah, they come up and things come up and you wonder, and, so hopefully we've answered them, or maybe you have more questions that have, maybe our answers have led to more questions. So bring them on. We're here for you.
Yes, and if some of our answers were questionable, that's a whole other story. Consult with your healthcare provider first.
Remember, get your ginger, though. That'll keep you healthy and strong, and your immune system healthy too. So that's the final parting word for me.
Parting words, and get your party on with your ginger, your turmeric, and all your anti-inflammatory lifestyle support system.
Exactly.
All right. We're heading out of here. We'll be back next week.
Be back next week. Have a good one, everyone.
Stay healthy. Wear a mask. Damn it. Bye.
Bye-bye.